Hey, what's going on YouTube? Hyperdark19 here, bringing you a video on what my predictions will be for the upcoming September 2011 banned and restricted list. Just wanted to get one thing straight before I started with my short list. I'll keep it as short as I can. I just want you to know that these are not I've tried as best I could not to be influenced by personal opinions when I made this list on more on what the meta has really been about in these past few months and what decks are really rising to the top, what decks are really broken, which ones don't matter. So these are once again these cards that are on my predictions list. These are cards that I think could get hit or unhit, as the case may be, not things that I want to get hit. So yeah, once again, these are cards that I think could be affected, not cards that I want to be affected. So yeah, just with that little disclaimer out there, onto the list. First of all, I think on my list for cards that could be newly put on the list, Hyper Librarian, TG Hyper Librarian. I think this is pretty much a no-brainer to hit the list, as lots and lots of decks use Hyper Librarian. I mean, the card is ridiculous. We all know that. So, Hyper Librarian hitting the list, I say it could probably go to 1 on the list, even though it is a TCG exclusive, and they don't hit those that often. I think putting Hyper Librarian at 1 on the list would not only does it check the overuse of Hyper Librarian and just the ridiculousness that more than one could create in a deck, but most people actually don't run more than one anyway, so if it does hit 1 on the list, most people won't care probably. So yeah, I think Hyper Librarian could easily be hit to 1 on the next ban list. Next up, Skill Drain, because this card has proved to be extremely brokenly good this format. I mean, look at Nationals. The guy who won Nationals put 3 copies of Skill Drain main deck, and that's pretty much why he won. So yeah, I mean, Skill Drain has proved to be a very solid, even broken card. So I think I don't think it'll get hit that much. I think since it was unlimited last list, I think it could go back to 2 on the next list. I don't think they'll put it to 1. So I think Skill Drain could go to 2 on the next list, just because it's proved to be kind of broken overall in this format. Speaking of broken cards, Ultimate Offering. I really hope that we don't have an entire format dominated by Offering Gadget Exceeds. So I hope that they'll I hope they'll limit Ultimate Offering to 1 on this next list, just preemptively, to stop the ridiculousness that deck can be, because a whole format of Offering Gadgets would not be fun. So yeah, I really hope that Ultimate Offering gets limited to 1 on the next list. My next card, Gen X Ally Birdman. This may surprise some people, but I think Birdman has the possibility to be put on the list either to 2 or even maybe to 1. Mostly I think that because I think that its partner in crime, Reborn Tengu, will not be touched by the list, because Tengu is, well, for one thing, it's a TCG exclusive and they don't really like hitting those, and 2, the card has proved to be just totally ridiculous, and it pretty much has defined the format. But if you put Reborn Tango on the list too, you couldn't put it to 1 because that would just eliminate all usefulness of the card whatsoever. And even if you put it to 2, it severely hurts Tengu and would hurt a lot of the decks that play Tengu. The only really good way to play Tengu is at 3s, so I really don't think they're going to touch Tengu. However, I do think they're going to touch Birdman, not only because it's broken with Tengu, because it is one of the most broken tuners in the game, in my opinion. So, I really think Birdman could go to 2 or 1 on the list, probably 2. If they still is a problem, they'll probably put it to 1, but I'd say Birdman will go to 2 on the next list, just because of the interactions with Tengu and just being a really broken tuner. Speaking of broken tuners, I think Debris Dragon should be hit to 1. I mean, it was already hit to 2, but I don't think, from personal experience, I don't think hitting it to 2 really did much good, because a lot of the decks that use 3 Debris Dragons now still use 2 with no problem, like Plants. But I think hitting Debris Dragon to 1 would severely injure the Plant deck and hinder the Plant engine a lot. And I don't know about you, but I'm just really tired of the Plant engine being splashable into like Lone Fire, Spore, Glow Up, Debris Dragon, Dandelion. just splash those like 7 or 8 cards into every single deck you make. It gets really tiresome to have to face that engine over and over again. So I think Debris Dragon should get limited to 1 for those reasons, really. Another synchro that I think will get hit. I shouldn't say should. Will get hit. Brionic. I know I know a lot of people may disagree with me on that, but there's been a lot of talk at nationals and around my locals even that Brionic is broken and should be banned. So Konami has a history of not liking OTKs. So Brionic is a card that not only does it create not only can it enable OTKs, it creates OTKs all by itself. Unlike Giant Trunade is the closest thing I can come up with to Brionic. And while Giant Trunade is an OTK enabler, it won't help you win the game straight up unless you have other cards. Brionic could win you the game straight up. It is a broken synchro monster, and I really think limiting it was not enough. I really think it's going to be banned on the next list. Tour Guide from the Underworld. It's a relatively new card, but with the era of Exceeds coming up, I think this card is going to hit the list. I don't know if it's going. I really, really doubt that it's going to be banned, but I think it could be hit to 2 or even to 1 because, like I said, Exceeds with that guy are pretty much really broken. And also, the Tour Guide Synchro deck has been proving to be very, very effective. So I think Tour Guide should hit the list. First of all, I don't know what I'm talking about. Sorry. Pot of Avarice. I think this card is also an extremely broken card. So I mean, everybody and their brother runs Pot of Avarice in their deck. I know I run 2 copies of Pot of Avarice in every deck I have, so that tells you something about how good it is. I mean, Pot of Avarice, it's a plus. I don't even know how many pluses it is. It gives you so many pluses all the time by recycling your monsters and drawing cards that it's really ridiculous. And I think that because the Tengu decks and Water Synchro decks really rely on Pot of Avarice at 3, I really think Pot of Avarice has the possibility of hitting the list to 2 or maybe even to 1, like it was when it first came out, because it's been untouched for a while, but it's proved that it has pretty much become a staple card in a lot of decks, and it getting touched by the ban list could really hurt those decks and make room for some more competitors in the meta other than generic synchro spam builds. So yeah, I think Pot of Avarice has the potential to hit the list. Further on the plant engine, I think Lone Fire Blossom has a little but not a lot of potential of going from 2 to 1 on the next list just because it is such a good card. And I mean, you get Titanial out first turn with that. That's pretty difficult to get by. And I mean, just because it sets up the Dandelion and the Spore and the Glow Up Bulb for the Debris Dragon, and it's another part of the plant engine that I think could be cut down in order to limit the effectiveness of that engine. And I think Konami may decide to do that to the plant engine and to Lone Fire for the betterment of the game, really. Giant Trunade, I've been hearing a lot of talk around the water cooler that Giant Trunade has the possibility of being banned on the next list. I really, really hope that doesn't happen. I think people always complain about how broken Giant Trunade is, but I pay them really no mind because people complained about how broken Heavy Storm was before that got banned, and I mean, Heavy Storm is really not that broken at all. And those other staple cards that have been unbanned, like Dark Hole and Monster Reborn, that really haven't had that much impact on the game. Some people think Giant Trunade has more impact than both of those cards. I don't see it, in my opinion. I really don't want Giant Trunade to go on the list. I think it's a solid card, but I think that it possibly could. However, it could be a good replacement for that and a good reason to put it on the list, but I'll get to that in a minute. Fishborg Blaster, this card has proven to be a broken tuner in so many water decks, especially it enables Fish OTK. And the crazy Gen X Undyne Synchro deck that is ridiculous. And once again, partner in crime with Pot of Avarice and whatnot. So, and it makes formulas out the wazoo. So I think Fishborg Blaster, which is at 3 right now, it has the potential to go to 2, 1, or even be banned on the list. So I kind of hope for that one, to be honest. But I really think Fishborg Blaster has the potential to get banned because it is such a broken tuner. Pot of Duality, A lot of people may disagree with me on this as well because it's coming out in the tins, and the reasoning is Konami wouldn't want to hurt their sales by limiting or restricting a card that just came out in a tin. But I think Pot of Duality has the potential to be hit to 2, probably not to 1, but maybe at least to 2, because now that it is coming out in the tin, everyone's going to have access to it. So yeah, I think that it's possible. It's possible. I think that it could happen. I'm not sure if it will. But yeah, I think just because everybody and their brother is going to be using it now that everyone has access to it, I think Duality has the potential to go to 2, or maybe even to 1. I guess we'll see. Formula Synchron, this card has also proven to be a driving force behind the meta, and I think Formula Synchron, which is, it's not limited right now, I think it has the potential to go to 2 or to 1. I really don't think they're going to ban Formula, because what would be the point in that? I mean, really. But I think Formula has at least the potential to go to 2, maybe to 1, but I doubt that, so probably to 2, just because that and Hyper Librarian are partners in crime, so I could easily see that happening. Last but not least, on the list change list, well, I mean, they're all list changes, but I mean, to banned or newly restricted, Mindmaster. This card needs to be banned. It's at 1 right now, but it really needs to be banned because it is in the new Psychic RFG deck. It is absolutely ridiculous with the loops it can create, and it nets some constant +1s all the time, and also in the new deck that's coming out, there's going to be a way to OTK with Exodia and Mindmaster first turn. So it's going to be an FTK deck, so I really think preemptively that Mindmaster needs to get banned. That's it for the That's it for the newly banned or like restricted cards on the list. I can see I'm running out of time, so I guess I'm gonna have to make another video talking about the cards that I think should be upped or come off the list entirely. So I'll make that right now, actually. Until then, peace out, YouTube. Thanks for watching.